Hello and welcome to our boys volleyball preview show on KLCS. My name is Randy Rosenblum. For the next hour, we will discuss the teams and leagues in the Los Angeles Unified School District. We will also look at the top individual players who will make this boys volleyball season a fun one to watch. Last year, we witnessed the Palisades Dolphins prevail over upstart El Camino Real in a hard-fought match. Perhaps we will see another tremendous battle in the final this season. One thing is certain, boys volleyball in the city section will be exciting and well played. Now, to help us sort out the 2009 season, let's meet our distinguished panel of coaches, starting with Will Reinhardt of Verdugo Hills. Will in his 13th year. Will, welcome.
Hey, happy to be here, Randy. Spring is in the air. It's boys volleyball time, and we're looking to restoring order, bringing the volleyball championship back to the Valley this year.
Let's see what Christy North has to say about that. She's from Carson, the other side of the hill. In your 7th
We like
year.
to keep chaos in boys volleyball, so we want to keep the championship on this side of the 101. So we were excited that Palisades won the city championship and hope that Carson has some say in it this year.
And maybe they will. And then there's Elias Gomez, who's done a terrific job at Elizabeth. Elias in his 8th year as the head boys coach there.
Always a pleasure to be here, Randy. And in small schools, we're looking to bring the championship back on this side of the hill.
Yeah, Northridge Academy has won it the last couple of years. All right, let's start with the West Valley League, who until last year had won it 9 straight years. Look at these schools. These are all powerhouses in boys volleyball. Birmingham, Chatsworth, who was the #1 seed last year in the tournament and got upset by Birmingham in the round of 16. Cleveland, who's always solid. El Camino Real, who went to the championship match and lost to Pali in 5. Granada Hills, who is always talented under head coach Tom Harp. And Taft has a history of being in the finals as well. What a league this is, Will Reinhardt.
You know, in recent years, it's been Granada, Chatsworth, and Taft. But I got to tell you, the competitiveness of this league this year, from top to bottom, is sensational. The edge probably early on to Granada. They have a lot of returning players, big players, some senior leadership, veterans. But watch out for El Camino, the appearance in the final last year. And, quite honestly, we should expect to see a team like Birmingham pushing its way up there. They've got some terrific athletes. Chatsworth, the #1 seed you mentioned, they may be, despite the fact they've got this new coach, we'll talk about him, they may actually be fighting for the bottom of the West Valley League. So it's a tremendously interesting league this year.
Let's specifically get to El Camino Real because it was a storybook finish for them. Even though they lost in 5 to the Dolphins, they were a very low seed and stunned everyone by getting to the championship.
Yeah, Elko, I think that they were happy to be there, and I think they might have been a little bit overwhelmed. The way the seeding fell out with Chatsworth being upset in that second round opened the door for El Camino, and they made the most of it. So we're going to look forward to Doug Coleman's team being sensational this year as well. He's got the Du Bois twins. Those brothers are hammers, and they're going to be big in the middle on the outside for that team. El Camino is probably got one of the tougher schedules. They're playing Newberry Park and Calabasas in the Marmonte League. And so they're going to be a factor right off the bat, and I think they can taste it. So they're going to be pushing hard.
They also have some size in Tim Kolodny, who plays on the basketball team as well, who's very solid in the middle. Let's go and talk, too, about Granada Hills, because that's Tom Harp's team. And Granada Hills won the 2 previous city championships, and they got a pretty good hitter, don't they?
Well, look, so Tom Harp, 25 years coaching at Granada Hills Boys, and they've got a defending West Valley League co-champ team over there. They've got an all-city player in John Benheim. I think that you're going to see the experience factor, at least early in the season, be a big edge for Granada Hills. They've got size, a 6'3" outside right side hitter. They've got a 6'2" outside hitter. So when you talk about experience, size, a coach who knows what he's doing, they've been there before. Granada is going to be probably, I think, the early front runner in the West Valley League.
Now, you mentioned Chatsworth and the new coach. It's Dancing Marvin Hall. Now, in the AVP, he's well known as an official. Now he's going to coach in the West Valley League?
I've known Marvin for probably about 20 years, and I always think of him on the AVP tour, like you're saying. And so it's going to be interesting to see what he's like with high school boys, trying to get a team that has to rebuild, Randy. 2 players coming back, no starters. They were obviously expecting a lot last year, and now they got to rebuild. But, Marvin's a great guy to build with, so I think it'll be interesting every game. He's Mr. Personality, so every game in the West Valley should be interesting.
There's Taft, there's Cleveland, and there's Birmingham. Those are 3 really good schools. Do they have a shot in the West Valley?
The coaches I've talked to in the West Valley keep saying, well, Cleveland, watch out for Cleveland. And, we know Jeff Laidlaw. He's been a terrific talent over there as the head coach. He's got that team primed. So let's say that's the dark horse team. Birmingham has got a kid named Dominique Candy, the Candy Man. Apparently he jumps through the roof. He's a sophomore, and my guys have seen him in the winter leagues, and they're saying this guy's like a freak. He's a beast in terms of the way he jumps. So with athletic ability, Birmingham will be in the mix. And Taft, I think they've been a little under the radar, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with Taft.
We'll have to see if the Candyman can get it done there in the West Valley League. So, Will, you like El Camino?
I like Granada, and I think
Granada.
El Camino is maybe.
It's close.
Between those two.
Okay. Let's move ahead and talk about the Western League. Christy North will assist us here as we talk about the Western League. Fairfax, the Lions, Hamilton, Los Angeles, of course, there's Palisades, the defending city champions. They are loaded yet again. Chris Forrest is the head coach, has a great senior in Matt Hanley and a lot of other talented players. That's a team that's very formidable. University Venice, historically very strong under head coach Alan Hunt, and Westchester. All right, we'll start with Fairfax here. Christy, can the Lions break through?
I think that they have a possibility. They have been a team that is consistently in the playoffs. They work really hard. Karen Brown gets the best that she can out of a variety of kids that come to play for her. She has two kids, Sam Kim and Robin Dayrit, that she feels are going to be instrumental in keeping this team going, and she feels that there's going to be a really strong performance from them this year.
Yeah, Sam Kim had 160 kills last year. Let's move ahead and talk about Hamilton and talk about dating. Not really. They have a player by the name of Dates who is splendid. And Eric Dates, 6'6" outside hitter who can really play.
He's the guy everybody's talking about. Everybody knows his name, and so the focus is really going to be on Hamilton to see whether they can have a team that supports this genuine player. He is someone who is already committed to Ohio State to go play, and I think he's just going to be the guy to watch and could make Hamilton be the dark horse in their league. It's a tough league with Pally and Venice, but I think Hamilton has a real shot.
As we look at those photos, you could see Dates playing above the net, Will.
The West Valley coaches in particular have some concern there. Obviously, Pally is the defending champion, but both Chris Forrest over at Pally and Alan Hunt have mentioned at Venice have mentioned this guy Dates, and Hamilton under Andrew being a force to come up, and that's great. It's great for West Valley.
Right,
and I think that he does have a little bit of support. He's got Sam Jay, who's a really good libero that's going to help keep him in the game. So that's a good thing for them to look forward to with Hamilton.
Oh, we got to talk about the champions. Chris Forrest is building a powerhouse in both boys and girls volleyball at Palisades. No surprise, they've been a powerhouse in previous years as well. They won the championship last year, holding off ECR in the final. What about the Dolphins? They're one of the favorites, I would think, not only in the Western League, but overall to win the city.
Absolutely. You know that Pally is the team to beat this year, both on this side of the hill and the other side. Matt Hanley, number one player, definitely a shot at having, a top team in the, and then we have Kene Izuchukwu, who is also a top player. They both play for the Palisades club team, both strong for junior nationals. Kenny's had a huge 42-inch vertical leap. There are also two other players, Wiley Janosek and Jordan Cohen, who are going to contribute as well as outside hitters and middle blockers. And just really good, solid players. These kids have been to the championship game, and they want to go there again. And so that's the big thing for them.
What I liked about Izuchukwu last year when I saw him in the finals, when the game and the match was on the line, Izuchukwu came through with some big kills, and you like a player like that.
He can hit from anywhere on the court. He is dangerous whether he's in the front row or the back row. You cannot count him out at any point in the game, and he gets his team jazzed.
Let's talk about Venice, because Alan Hunt every year has a good team. He's lost some star power there. Some all-city players have graduated. Where are the Gondos at this stage?
They're the team that I think Palisades is the most worried about in their own league, because Venice is always a top team. And no matter whether his team is experienced or inexperienced, Alan always brings out the best in them. They will probably get number 2 in the Western League, and they're a team to look out for. They don't have as many returning players as they have in the past, but they're always a strong contention. Always.
Anyone else in that league make a move?
But that's where I think Hamilton's got to make its move, is to take out Venice. I think she's right. It's too big of a mountain to climb to expect to be able to take down Palisades this year. But Hamilton, if they want to put themselves in a position to do great things in the future, they got to take down Venice this year, finish second in that league.
Well, they have Eric dates, and maybe they'll get it done. All right, let's move ahead and talk about the Eastern League. Elias will champion our league here in the Eastern League with Bell, Garfield, Huntington Park, L.A. Jordan, Roosevelt Southeast, and Southgate. Southeast is getting strong in a lot of different sports. So, Elias, what's up in this league here?
Well, this league is going to be led by Jordan. They are the Invitational champions. They beat Pauley last year, and they took that Invitational champion, and they played very well in that game. They won it in 3, I believe, so it was kind of easy. He has a couple of returners in Edward Garcia, a senior setter, Jose Saldana, sophomore outside hitter, and Devon Jarman, junior middle blocker. They're going to be a very strong team. He had a very strong JV, so they'll be able to fill in the gaps this year. So I think Jordan's going to be one of the top teams in this league. Huntington Park, can't count Coach Don Patino out. He always has something up his sleeve. He will be a strong team also, and they will defend against Jordan's hitters very well. Bell is going to go under a new coach this year. I believe their JV coach is now going to be coaching. Lisa Purcell has left the state, and she's no longer there. So Bell, we don't know exactly what's going to happen at Bell, but they do have a good lineup. Southgate has Jonathan Quinones, a senior setter, and Roderick Diaz, senior outside hitter, who hope to make some noise in this league. They haven't been playing too well the past few years. Southeast, as you said, Coach Lupe Morales is up and coming. I don't think they're going to give Jordan or Huntington Park too much of a problem this year, but another team to watch out for is Roosevelt. Coach Eddie Parra always has good players, very defensive squad. They attack well, and that's probably the dark horse for this league.
So it's L.A. Jordan to defend their championship. They won the Eastern League last year.
Yes, they won their Eastern League last year, and you know those Bulldogs at Garfield, they're always hiding somewhere. They will pop out somewhere. And
well, you're prejudiced with Bulldogs because you're from the Elizabeth Bulldogs.
Well, Jordan is Bulldogs also, so right. The Bulldogs are probably going to be at
Bulldogs
the top
got to stick together.
But we need the Eastern League to step up, and it's great that Jordan did win the Invitational last year because there are so many good athletes in the East Side, and those guys, in years past, they've been really respectable programs. So hopefully Jordan and these other schools are going to really push this year.
All right, let's go back into the San Fernando Valley. Will help us here with the Valley Mission League, and there is a powerhouse there in Sylmar. But here are the schools that will compete with Sylmar for the league crown in the Valley Mission. Kennedy, Monroe, Panorama, Reseda, which has had good teams in the past, San Fernando, and Sylmar. And well, even though Sylmar's on the bottom alphabetically, they're going to be on the top talent-wise, and they got Tyler Honeycutt, the great basketball player who signed to play at UCLA, even though he took his team into the Elite Eight in basketball after getting eliminated. He played a little point guard for his basketball team, even though he's 6'8", 6'9". Tyler Honeycutt is some athlete. I would imagine he could be one of the better athletes in the entire city section.
Yeah, absolutely, and I have to take issue with what Christy said about Palisades. I'm sorry. From respect, Palisades is a team to beat. Defending crown, right? Okay, we get it. But Sylmar's a team to beat this year. And
you have them above Palisades.
Absolutely. They really underachieved last year, and they have much the same cast back. You mentioned Honeycutt.
They went to the semifinals. That's not underachieving, is it?
I think they felt it was. And you see right there's Felipe Garcia. Felipe Garcia is going to be one of the most, if not the most talented setters in the entire league. Got Gary Ricks.
Another basketball player.
Yeah, another Sylmar basketball player. You mentioned Honeycutt. He's a legit 6'8". He's a leaper. He can attack anywhere. So they're going to put him on the outside at 6'8", but he is an effective attacker from the back row. And so you just have to watch out for this team. If they don't make the finals, in fact, they don't win it, I'll be very surprised.
What have they improved on most? Is it just the fact that they're a year older from last year's team?
There's no question that's a factor, but they've got great team chemistry because these guys are friends off the court. They've got a lot of experience, club experience and so forth, and they're seniors. The vast majority of the nucleus is seniors, and they want to go out winners. This is something real important to these guys. I just think they're hungry for it, really hungry, and all due respect to Chris and the Palisades Dolphins, I think that Sylmar, it's theirs to lose.
Well, they were one of the teams that underestimated El Camino last year. Yeah. They got surprised and lost to El Camino in the semifinals.
And I don't think they'll make that mistake twice.
I don't think so either.
Alan Hunt over at Venice put to me this way, this is a quote, done deal. That's the way, and I think he's a pretty good judge of talent. I think he knows what's going on. So
team chemistry is the key. It's going to play a big part of it, and I think that it's going to be a knockdown dragout when Sylmar's playing Pally, aren't they?
We got Sylmar Pally early in the season, Sylmar Taft. They've scheduled the right way because their league is weak, and we haven't talked about the rest of the Valley Mission, but they have done what they needed. They'll go out and do the tournaments in Vegas. They'll go out and be a part of the outside competition, but it's Sylmar's year.
All right, let's talk about the rest of the league. You know, Sylmar and San Fernando have a lot of great rivalries in a lot of sports, but it appears this might be a mismatch. Is there anyone in that league that can give Sylmar any competition? Will they drop even any games in the league?
No.
No.
They go
won't.
3-0 in every game.
Well, unless he decides that he wants to play their JV again. And no. They're going to, all due respect, I mean, Daniel Nishi's a great coach over at Reseda. We schedule those guys. But Reseda, San Fernando, Kennedy, the rest, they are not in a position to do anything about it. Monroe and Panorama have new coaches. So what does that tell you? I mean, this is a Sylmar league. They're just going to have to prevent boredom. You know, it's honestly 3-0 every single match in the Valley Mission. Write it down.
And it's not the first time they're going 10-0
No.
in that league. They've won it several times, 10-0.
They will be 10-0, 30-0 in games played.
Wow. So Sylmar's a team to reckon with in the Valley Mission League. We're going to come back. Christy North is going to help us with the Marine League, where her Carson Colts are the defending league champions. We'll talk about the Marine League when we return right after this. This is Boys Volleyball, our preview show on KLCS. And welcome back to our Volleyball Boys Preview Show. My name is Randy Rosenblum. We're going to talk about the Marine League. Christy North, who coaches in the Northern League. Yes, she coaches the boys at Carson. And let's take a look at the schools that will play against her squad in the Marine League. Of course, the Carson Colts are the defending league champions there, and the Colts are very solid yet again. The rest of the teams in the league are Banning, we said Carson, Gardena, King Drew, Narbonne, San Pedro, and Washington. There they are. There's the competition for Carson. But since Christy is kind enough to be here with us today, let's start with the Colts and give us the story. How good are your Colts?
I think we're solid. I think we're very solid. My boys are so disappointed that El Camino beat us in a knockdown drag-out last year in the second round, and we were really hungry to move beyond that second round and prove that Carson is a force to be reckoned with. So our goal is definitely to get that's my libero defensive specialist, Ipo Cruz, junior. This is his third year on varsity. John Bergoli, senior outside hitter and secondary setter. Kainoa Laimana, another junior outside hitter. And then my setter, Trey Cabreros, who has been playing with the varsity since he was a freshman and is really runs the offense well. And he's becoming a force as a blocker as well. He looks frail because he's so skinny, but he's a great blocker. He's a very smart player and really helps to run the offense.
That was some match you had with El Camino. Went 5 sets.
Oh, man, it was huge. It was huge. And each game in that match, we thought it could go either way for either team, no matter what the score was. It was just both teams wanted it that bad.
Another team that's excited about their play this year is King Drew. Now, they think they can make some waves in the Marine League. Tell us about King Drew this year.
I think King Drew is the team to look out for. Jean Morgan has, I believe this is her third or fourth year there, very consistent. These boys are starting to play volleyball on their own. We have Devontae Lockett, Erie French, and Jose Salinas. Very good kids. They've been playing outside volleyball on their own, trying to get ready for the season. I saw a couple of them during the basketball season. I said, you guys ready for volleyball? Yes, we're ready. We're bringing it. So King Drew is very excited about volleyball. I'm not going to take them lightly.
And Devontae Lockett is a solid player they think could be all city. Now, I know Washington took a match from you last year. That was the first time in a long time the Generals beat the Colts.
Boy, yeah, and that was really due in large part to one of their top players, Skylar Vaden. And he had been playing varsity for 4 years and really wanted his team to go out on a high note by beating Carson for the first time ever. And they did. It was our fault. And I don't know if Washington is the same team this year. It'll be interesting to see whether the guys that have come up behind Skylar are going to bring the same intensity and the same desire to win. So we'll see what happens. Kim Bly, athletic director and coach, I know that she's going to try to get the most that she can out of them.
We got Banning, Narbonne, and San Pedro, the other three schools there. Of course, we talk about Narbonne and San Pedro. You think about their great football final where they tied for the championship. What about in volleyball? These are solid schools. Can they make a move on your Carson Colts?
Never count out Narbonne or San Pedro. It's been traditional, with the exception of last year, that it's been Narbonne, San Pedro, and Carson in the top three. Sophia Ahumada, the coach for Narbonne, just gets a solid game out of her players. She has 2 or 3 top kids. Howard McBride, senior outside hitter. Nemesis, what a great name, Nemesis Tagalog. I'm sorry that I mangled that. He's 5'9", also been playing. And Matt Limtiako, who has been a solid player with them for 3 years. It's going to be a battle between Carson and Narbonne, I think, for the championship for the Marine League. San Pedro under Coach Sam Tejada. He played for San Pedro. He's been coaching now with them for 3 years. Always brings a solid team. He's got a good couple of outside hitters that have come in. It's a young team, but they have a new gym. So they want to wax that floor with a couple teams. So we'll see if that happens.
We'll see if they wax Carson.
Yeah, well, Carson, I mean,
No.
you got to watch out for Carson. She always plays it under the radar, but they scheduled real tough this year, and it's going to be, you got Pally, you got
Palisades, our city champions, is our first match at home. So we have an uphill battle, but we're coming for it. And then our second match is Taft. So we want to prove ourselves the best way that we can, and that's by playing tough teams.
We'll find out quickly how good the Colts are, but they
Yes,
are one
we
of the
will.
favorites, maybe the favorite again to repeat in the tough Marine League. Let's go ahead and talk Northern League volleyball. Boys volleyball, Elias Gomez will help us here. Belmont, Eagle Rock, Franklin, Lincoln, Marshall, and Wilson High School. Eagle Rock was 9-1 last year. The Eagles, the defending league champions, Elias.
Yeah, it looks like Eagle Rock is going to be one of the top teams there. And Marshall, again, they're going to go at it once again. Eagle Rock won on the tiebreaker last year, 9-1 record as long with Marshall. But both teams are coming back very strong. Eagle Rock has Wilson Chan, a senior outside hitter, Daniel Cruz, a junior outside hitter, and Serge Hosena, senior opposite. And he has a good roster. He has plenty of players coming back. Stephen Phillips is coming back. Hector Cardenas is coming back. So this is going to be a good, experienced team, and they're going to be the team to beat in this Northern League. Marshall, they played very well last year. He has many returners also. They went to 5 with Pally last year in round 2, and they lost in 5, 15-9. So they gave Palisades a good run for their money, and they had a great game. Jason Wu, senior outside hitter, 3 years at middle block. Now he's going to be the outside. So he's going to be the new leader. Billy Eve is their libero, junior. He's going to be the one who's going to play defense. And Terrence Bautista, sophomore setter. He's new. Coach says he's developing very quick, and he's going to be very reliable. Plus, he has 3 basketball crossovers who are going to make that team a lot stronger. And they'll probably be very good at the net defensively. Wilson and Franklin, Coach John Yu is always ready to keep his team going. I don't know if they're going to be able to defeat Eagle Rock and Marshall, but they are always willing to cause an upset there. Belmont and Lincoln, I believe, have new coaches, so they're going to be up and coming this year.
I think Marshall, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think Marshall has always played kind of a spoiler for teams that thought that they could get by a Northern League team. Eagle Rock as well, but Marshall especially, they just kind of come out of nowhere every once in a while. So I think they're always been a team to watch.
Yeah, but with Chan and Phillips coming back, both those players had over 100 kills last year. You must like Eagle Rock, would I?
I like Eagle Rock. Yes, I do. I think they're going to do it. But, Marshall, with those 3 basketball players, you never know what they're going to do. They might put up a triple block and shut the whole team down. But Eagle Rock is the team to beat at the moment.
All right, we'll see what happens in the Northern League. Let's go back into the San Fernando Valley and talk about the East Valley. Again, this used to be called the Sunset 6th League. It's now the East Valley League. And Verdugo Hills down on the bottom there, that's Will Reinhardt's school, so he'll know all about these teams. Arleta, Canoga Park, Grant, who has a superstar, and I'm sure we'll talk about him, North Hollywood, Holly from Sun Valley, Van Nuys, a team that is a definite threat. They have a great team as well, and Verdugo Hills, the Dons, who are historically pretty good under Will Reinhardt. All right, Will, in this league, I'm looking over this league. I got to start. Well, let's start because I'm going to be a good guy, and you're kind enough to be here with Verdugo Hills. All right, what do you have in store with the Dons this year?
Okay, well, Verdugo, we're looking at rebuilding to a certain degree, hopefully more reloading than rebuilding. We graduated 12 seniors last year, so we've got Chris Farmer, Josh Mosmella. They're going to be my 2 big guns, my outside and my setter.
You love Farmer because of his leaping ability.
Farmer, yeah, he's 30-inch plus on the vertical leap. He's long. He's 6'3". But we've got some nice other talent there. You see Paulo Hermoso, and there you go, Pedro Alfonso. He's a football player who's got a nice vertical leap. Phil Gonzalez, who's going to be playing middle for me, and a sophomore there, Renee Alexander, who's going to be doing some DS work. So I think we're going to have a lot of talent on the team. Question is, how quickly can we get the chemistry we need? How quickly can they learn the system? Some of these guys were JV players, and there's a big gap from varsity and JV, and they got to get used to it. So we'll see. We have Chatsworth coming in. We got La Cañada coming in, and we're going to take our lumps early on and find out where we stand.
Dave Che does a terrific job every year at Van Nuys. He's got a great setter in Eric Lujan who's going to spread the wealth for the Wolves.
Yeah, I think our league is going to be controlled this year by Van Nuys. They've got returning players. They've got an excellent coach, as you mentioned, in Dave Che. Lujan, I think, is going to be an all-city setter this year. Cameron Broomy, who is a basketball player, he's a 6'6" guy. He's going to be devastating for them, and they're going to run him on the outside this year instead of the middle. So they also have Matthew Claxton, who played middle last year. He's going to hit right side. Che's always got something in store for me. So I know the Verdugo-Van Nuys battles will be pretty good this year. And I expect that we'll be chasing a lot of the time because Van Nuys is good.
And then there's Grant High School, who may be down a little bit team-wise, but might have the best player in the city, arguably, and Christian Nava. This guy can get it done.
Yeah, Nava, he's like a little Mike Avicilla clone. Mike Avicilla was an all-city player from the past couple of years, and Nava reminds us a lot of that guy. He's a very gifted outside hitter, not huge, maybe 6 feet tall, but a good vertical leap, and he hits every shot on the court, right? So he's line angled, deep, short. He's smart. He knows how to outthink you as well as outplay you, and I think they're going to depend on him almost exclusively. They got a new coach, Andrew Jacoby, is going to be the coach there. He's trying to get up to speed. And that's an advantage for us at Verdugo and Van Nuys, but with Mike on the team, with Christian on the team, they'll be tough.
And surprisingly to me, it was L.A. Poly, Sun Valley Poly, that got to the Invitational Finals last year.
Well, Poly, I think they probably expected a little bit better than that, actually. They had Aaron Sanchez and some big middle attackers. They actually, I think, fell a little short of their goals. Obviously, they didn't win the Invitational, but they're doing a nice job. They've got a new coach as well. They've got Jose Camberos is taking over for Peter Johansson. And so there's some transition there. They lost some talented players. That's why I put them in the middle of the pack in the East Valley League this year. But don't ever count out the Parrots. It's fighting Parrots. You'd have to be Quackers.
Whenever you go into the cage, it's never an easy assignment.
That's right.
All right, what about like North Hollywood and Canoga and Arleta?
Well, as you know, Randy, North Hollywood is a substandard high school. No, just kidding, North Hollywood. Come on,
that's my alma mater you're burying there.
No emails.
You just put the Huskies down.
Unfortunately for boys volleyball, North Hollywood is not going to be able to do what they're hoping for. They have a new coach again. They've been at the bottom of our league for many years now. So Canoga Park has got a new coach. Jason Carbonell, you know Jason, and he's been there 13, 14 years, is going to be working with the JVs. And so his new coach, Jeff O'Brien, is going to be working with the varsity. Carbonell's still in the program, but I think that'll have some consequences for Canoga Park. But unfortunately, those Huskies are going to be in the pound this year.
Keep pounding it away with the Huskies.
Sorry, buddy.
That's all right, Will. All right, so you listen. Verdugo Hills isn't going to win it either. Van Nuys, right?
You're
going to take your lumps too.
Don't hate, okay, Randy? Don't hate. Verdugo Hills will be in the mix. Okay. Let's just put that way. Van Nuys is the favorite.
All right, Van Nuys to win in the East Valley League. Elias is up this time to help us with the Southern League. Of course, his Elizabeth Bulldogs are housed here, as you can see, with Bravo, who may have a contender this year. Contreras, there's Elizabeth, Hollywood, the Sheiks. Maywood's got a solid team. Santee and West Adams. This is the Southern League. Elias, it is yours to break down. Let's start with your Bulldogs.
Well, our Bulldogs are coming back. We have 3 of the 6 starters coming back, so we're going to be okay this year. We're hoping to progress further into the finals this year. There's a picture of our guys there. They're in soccer uniforms because they're still in soccer season, and we won't get them for a few more weeks. They're seeded number 1 in soccer, so we won't see them for at least 2-3 more weeks. We just can't start without these guys.
Who are the key guys who are going to get it
Our
done
key
for
guys
you?
are going to be Art Reyes, outside hitter, senior. Miguel Prado, also either middle blocker or outside hitter, wherever we cannot fill the gap. And Jonathan Lopez, we call him J-Lo. He's our defensive player.
Poor guy.
So who's going to be doing it? Yeah, that's what we call him. We call him J-Lo. Nelson Campos, defensive player. Chris Gutierrez, also defensive player. And then we have a bunch of new guys who were on the JV last year, and we're hoping they can fill in the gaps for us.
Hollywood, the Sheiks, they're a school that's been around for a long time, and then you think they're improving in volleyball.
They're improving. They have Manny Salas back as their coach again. I believe it's his 2nd year, and they're constantly getting better. He works with the girls team also, and Hollywood has been coming up. They haven't beaten the bigger teams in our league, but they are going to make a move. They're ready to break out.
All right, let's go to Bravo here, and they have a guy by the name of Daniel Song. So we're singing his praise. Sorry about that. But Daniel Song is the guy there, right?
Yeah, he's a sophomore outside hitter. He hits his head on the ceiling all the time when he goes to attack. He's a great player. Bravo's defending champs, and they're not going to let it go lightly. They're ready to play. They have Jimmy Lowe, Jr., middle blocker. He's also a big jumper. They have Hector Moreno, the other outside hitter. John Noah, their setter. They're all young. They're all sophomores and juniors, so they're going to be around for a while. They made a good move in the playoffs last year. I believe they went to the semifinal in the Invitational, so they're going to be ready to play. They're not letting go of that championship.
You know, we all know about Eli's team over there, and so I would assume that it's going to be most likely Elizabeth. But let's give a shout out again just to Hollywood. I know Manny. He used to be in the Northern League, and then he was in the Sunset Six. And he may be second year back with Hollywood, but he had coached them several years. So watch out for Hollywood. I think the Sheiks, they may pull a little mirage on us there.
Okay, so it'll be chic. It'll be in
All I
vogue
can come up with. I'm sorry.
Hollywood. What about Maywood? Because I've heard
see,
good things about them.
This league is very interesting because we have Elizabeth, who's won 3 out of the 4 championships in the years. Bravo's defending champions. We have Maywood now this year. They're the defending Freeway League champions, and they won that league rather easily last year. And then we have West Adams, the Freeway League runner-up. So now this league is a lot stronger. Contreras is coming in. They won the JV championship last year, and they won it rather easily. So this league is getting stronger as it goes, and Santee's always improving. So Eastern League, Northern League, Marine League, they're going to have to watch out for this Southern League. It's growing, and it's getting better quickly.
Well, that's good for the entire city. That a league that's been down really is getting much stronger.
Oh, it is one of the newest leagues there. So and Maywood's going to be led by Jose Mario Rocha, junior setter, Gustavo Castellanos, a senior outside hitter, and Eric Castro, a junior outside hitter. So these teams are strong. They're getting there, and they're making moves.
And it's good news for Elizabeth and especially for Eli, so he doesn't hurt his back lifting all those trophies. Because usually he's got an armful of those trophies, and maybe this year they'll give him a harder time.
Something you wouldn't have to worry about.
You know, I've been fortunate the last couple of years. I haven't had to pick up too many of them, I guess.
Well, our girls have won 4 years in a row. Our boys, it's escaped us. We made it to the final one year, lost to Northridge, and then last year lost to Fauché in the semifinal. So that one's eluded us. We're still working on that one.
And I think a lot of these teams are getting stronger because they're having consistent coaching. Someone like Elias, who has been around for a while and really drives his team. I think that we see that teams improve when they have consistent coaching.
You know, Will's trying so hard to find a way to get Van Nuys out of the league so you can get a trophy.
No,
right?
are you kidding? I'm thrilled to have. Hey, wait a second now. We won the 2 previous before Van Nuys last year, but first of all, Dave's a class guy, Dave Che at Van Nuys, and secondly, the Wolves, it's a historically good program and a team that I think everyone agrees no one wants to play them. They're tough, man. They're a good team.
Let's go back to the Southern League. All right, do you win it at Elizabeth, or is Bravo going to win it, and maybe Maywood or Hollywood?
It's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be Elizabeth, Bravo, and Maywood, the top 3. I'm going to say Elizabeth, of course, but Bravo has something to say about that, and Maywood's going to have something to say about that too. But Elizabeth's going to come out on top. I'm going to have that confidence.
All right, go Dogs.
Good for you.
All right, we're going to step out and come back, and when we return on our boys volleyball preview show, we'll talk about the Coliseum League. That's next on KLCS.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Gotta get that. Oh, we must be careful. Well, that's a nice picture.
Come on, Anna.
Okay.
Foreclosure doesn't affect just you. It affects your whole family, too. Call 1-888-995-HOPE for real help and guidance, because nothing is worse than doing nothing.
Boys volleyball is our subject matter today on KLCS, our preview show. We're going to move into the Coliseum League. My name is Randy Rosenblum. We're happy to talk about the Coliseum League, and here are the schools that work out of that league, and it's a league that's gotten a little bit better in boys volleyball. Crenshaw, Dorsey, Fremont, Jefferson, Locke, and I remember the good old days when Manual Arts used to have some really good teams. Locke stepped that up a little bit last year. Christy North's going to help us here. Where do we start here, Christy? Who's going to be the team to beat in the Coliseum League?
I think it's up between Locke and Jefferson. They both made it into the playoffs last year. They both lost in the first round, but they played decent teams. Jefferson lost to Venice in the first round. Locke lost to Reseda. And then Jefferson lost to Polytech, and Locke lost to San Pedro. So the coaches have been really stepping up, trying to make their programs stronger. Manual Arts has been a contender each year in that league, and I think that those will be their top 3 teams.
Anything else to talk about in the Coliseum League? This is not normally a league we've chatted about when we talk about boys volleyball, but I think athletically, we got great athletes here, and they should be able to step up.
Well, if you could get the basketball coaches, I mean, the Coliseum League is awesome for basketball. If you could get the basketball coaches to give some of those players up, we'd have a nice-looking volleyball program over there. But they've been pretty iron-fisted in protecting those basketball players down in the Coliseum League.
And I think that's true for a lot of the city leagues. There are basketball players out there who can make great volleyball players, but the basketball coaches, as you say, don't want to let go.
But we've seen Sylmar this year. You know, Will's team already is trending a potential #1 team that has great basketball players on the volleyball team. We've seen in the past with Armand Mercado at Taft use basketball players
But
to his
that's on the other side of the 101.
Why on your side of the hill they're not going to do that?
Because they're known as basketball players. The coaches love their basketball programs and want to keep those basketball programs strong. And in this age of club teams, travel teams, whether it's baseball, basketball, whatever, the coaches want their basketball players to remain basketball players and to concentrate on that.
Well, there's consistent basketball coaches in
Yes.
that league. They're same there for years.
Yes.
The volleyball coaches, on the other hand, none of them, I don't think, have been there for 2-3 years.
Right.
I mean, they're
with the exception of
Since
probably
Trent.
of Manual Arts.
Well,
right?
since Trent Cornelius left in the I mean, that's the other thing is with the boys basketball teams, they're strong and they could have the athletes, but because there isn't a strong coach the way Elias is mentioning here, you don't get the reputation for the boys volleyball. Because Bort Escoto over at Sylmar, I'm sure he didn't want Tyler to play off-season volleyball, but because of Bob Thompson, because of Sohail Mashoud, they know that there's a winning program in the volleyball team, and then just the administration, the culture there is to play volleyball.
And a coach who will fight to get a basketball player to play.
Same with
The
Armin at,
consistency, same thing.
at Taft. He has a good relationship with Derek Taylor, and they're able to work it out.
So it's a huge advantage in the Coliseum League. Who do you like to win the championship?
It's between Jefferson and Locke. I'll give it to Locke.
Locke, okay. So we
A
like
Locke.
Locke. A Locke for
have it
Locke,
on
she
lock.
says.
I got it before you.
Okay, you did. That's 1 for Christy. All right, let's move ahead. We're going to quickly go to the Freeway League. Elias will assist us here with Bernstein, Fauché, Marlton, Orthopedic, and USC Mast. Elias, break it down in the Freeway League.
Well, it starts with Fauché and it ends with Fauché. They are the defending Coliseum League champions. They were in the Coliseum League last year and they defeated Locke and Jefferson. And now they're in the Freeway League and they're probably going to win it. They have a new coach in Edward Rauda, and he's doing a great job. He knows his volleyball. He helped out with the girls' season, and now he's the head coach for the boys. He has Juan Castro, a junior outside hitter, William Peña, a junior outside hitter, and Pedro Ocampo, their senior setter. He has 4 to 5 returners, so he's probably the favorite to win the small school or to make it to the finals in the small school. I'm not going to say win. I'm going to say make it to the small school final. And the other teams are pretty much still growing.
So you think Fauché is a lock? No pun intended, going back to her lock on lock.
I think they're solid. They're a lock for for this
Fauché, they
league.
schedule into the tournaments. I mean, they do the right things. They're not afraid to take on anybody, so I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah,
too.
they played in the Sylmar tournament
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah,
didn't they? I
they're-
think that was their first time that they
That
had been
kind
in
of
that
stuff.
tournament.
They're willing to take the risks, and they've been reaping the rewards as a result.
And that program, again, is also growing. And they have a new coach this year, but the previous coach was there for several years, so they're still doing very well.
So Fauché in the Freeway League to romp. Let's look at our final league of the day, and that's the Valley League. Will be our star-studded man here to help us out. Here it is, East Valley, Fulton College, Northridge Academy, who the last 2 years has won the Small Schools Championship, Northridge Academy, Sherman Oaks CES, and Valley Alternative. I guess, Will, we start with Sherman Oaks and Northridge.
Sure. I mean, Sherman Oaks will probably be fighting Northridge for it, and the reason that is because Ozzie Bidet, the coach over at Northridge, has lost some talent. In particular, Alex Prince last year, who I think a lot of us would have liked to have had on our team.
So she lost her royalty.
She did. She lost her royalty, and let's see if they lose the throne as a result. It's going to be tough. But Northridge is still a team to beat. They scheduled Uni in the preseason. Like we talked about with Fauché, Northridge wants to be taken seriously. They're in a small schools league, but they're doing the right things to improve. Sosis, Fulton, they're probably going to be the runners-up, one of those two teams. And Valley All, God bless Mike Soto. I know he's done everything he can. Talk about a guy who has commitment to make his team good. And unfortunately, he's got a very small enrollment, and the administration, I think sometimes doesn't help him as much as they could. So Mike is not feeling too great about this season. But I think, Valley A&M, you've always got to take a look at them. East Valley, they got a new coach, unknown factor, couldn't say.
Okay, anyone else with a thought on the Valley League? You think it's going to be Northridge Academy then, or Sherman Oaks CES?
No, Northridge, I think. I mean, I don't think they'll threaten Eli's team, but I think they're going to be one of the top four.
Fulton's going to be tough, too.
Yeah, I've been hearing Fulton possibly.
All right, so in the Valley League, we're going to stay with Northridge Academy as our champion. All right, this is the part of the program I really like. We open it up, a little panel discussion, different topics to discuss in regards to what's going on in city volleyball on the boys' side. And I kind of threw this out in years gone by and with the girls as well. It's Pally normally against the Valley. And with apologies to Venice, who's built its program. Why is it Pally against the Valley? Why are we seeing one school really having to take on all these West Valley League schools?
I would say one of their strengths is they have a strong club team. And
Pally.
Pally does. And they work year round. And in fact, who's the kid? Eric Gates from Hamilton plays for Palisades volleyball team. And so they also get to see a lot of the other kids that play Valley clubs. They get to see a lot of them throughout the year, and so they're consistently playing against quality teams, and they just build a quality program through that.
Will, how do we spread the wealth here? So it's not just Pally against the Valley.
Well, I think for the other schools, I mean, Palisades is kind of a unique situation. Charter school out there in a very affluent community, and they have their roots in the beach game, so it's somewhat understandable why they would be strong in the volleyball program. But with the other schools, I think it comes down to coaching. And again, look at Andrew Sachs at Hamilton. And it's,
job.
Eric Dates is just one player, but it's because of Andrew that Hamilton is resurfacing again. There's no reason why Hamilton couldn't be a successful, top-notch program.
They were a real surprise last year. Yeah. They really came on strong, and they were a team to be reckoned with.
I'll go to you at Elizabeth there, Elias, because you built that program there. It's pretty much your staple. What did you do to build it so quickly? Because you've been a dominant team at the lower level for a long time.
Well, we try to keep in contact with these players and have them play whatever they can during the year. As you said, club ball, they play year-round. Our boys don't get to play year-round. They're constantly in other sports. But when it comes to volleyball, they do try to make a little extra time every now and then to play. There is no club teams in the inner city. I mean, Hamilton and Palisades are closer to the beach and to the valley. So they have clubs. Down in Southeast LA, there's none. I can't think of any boys club teams down there. And so they don't get to play. And coaching is a huge part that we don't have any consistency. The Eastern League has good teams, but they don't have club players.
That's the big difference. I mean, even at my school in Verdugo, there are kids who will play in club from time to time, but it's not a very affluent area. And the reason why it's successful in part is because I'm willing to go and beg, borrow, or cheat to get these players. I'll recruit on campus like crazy.
Don't cheat. We don't need to cheat.
Well, whatever you got to do. I mean, the thing is, I wonder how much other coaches just hold open tryouts and figure who's going to show. I go around the lunch area looking for tall kids or people I've heard about. I talk to the girls players, say, hey, who are the boys that I should have right now? And then I'll go after them. And a lot of times, and maybe you tell me, but with boys volleyball, there's still a little bit of a stigma about, it's not a masculine enough sport, not a guy's sport. Once you can get them in the gym, they all love it. They love just pounding the ball 90 miles an hour. And so I've got a all-city football player on my team this year. I'll get the big macho basketball guys in, but that takes a little bit of effort. You have to kind of convince them. It takes some persuasion.
Are you saying that there's not enough desire from some of the coaches in the city to go out and recruit within their own campus?
Oh, I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that the good coaches, I believe, keep their ear to the ground. They're listening. They're always looking out for somebody new. I work pre-registration every August, and nice. A sophomore or a junior, Samoan kid will come through. Oh, do you play volleyball? What? Where have you been? Are you transferring here? And I'll come up to them, as he said, during lunch. A basketball player, a football player. I'm constantly battling with the track coach, trying to get kids to play volleyball instead of run track, because a lot of the football coaches want their kids to stay in shape that way. But I think the best coaches keep talking, no matter whether the kid's able to play for them that year or not.
And they're the ones who win their league championships. They're always in first and second place. The coaches that is out there trying to recruit the players, they're the ones that are winning. The coaches that are always constantly changing are constantly struggling and constantly not playing well.
It doesn't hurt to slip a 20 to the head counselor. It might
You're asking for real trouble. You understand you're in the media right now on air.
I tell my head counselor to send him my way.
I could see a suspended coach right here, Will Reinhardt. Don't talk about that kind of stuff. We got to settle Will down. All right. The other topic we wanted to get into here briefly is, I know that Sylmar is playing at Pali, and you think it could be a preview of the city finals. Scheduling tough. I know, Christy, you've really upgraded your schedule.
Each year we have worked to elevate our schedule, even if it's just one more team that is a higher level team. And the same as Elias has been saying, is some of the, whether they're small school or some of the teams that have been in the traditionally weaker leagues, those teams that are starting to be noticed more are those teams that are scheduling themselves more difficultly, like Fauché going to the Sylmar tournament last year, where they were definitely outmanned, but they played hard, they worked hard, and you have to do that as a coach. You have to try to schedule your team against the toughest teams. It's a real coup for us to be able to have as our first two matches Palisades, the city champions, and Taft from the Valley League. It's the first time, since I've been coaching, and I think in ever, that a Valley team for the boys volleyball has come down to Carson to play a preseason match, and that's big.
It's a key point because it's harder, I think, on Christie, especially on San Pedro, Narbonne, but any of those schools down there. There's such a wealth of volleyball talent on the Valley side, so they can kind of mix it up.
Right.
But she's sort of out there, a little further away. Nobody
wants to drive that far.
Her school's far from me. It would be an hour commitment. And so for schools like Carson and San Pedro,
you can get there by the metro, though, can't you?
Well, I don't know about that. I have to go all the way down there. So it's a little tougher on those schools, and I appreciate when they do it, when they go out of their way to schedule.
And I'll tell you, in kind of a thanks, I'm trying to start a little something in that we're going to feed Pally and the Taft kids.
Oh, nice.
Because they have an hour, they have at least, at minimum, on a Friday, a Wednesday, a Tuesday, whatever, they have an hour bus ride, minimum. And they're leaving there, they've played a 3, 4, 5 game match. They're hungry. They need some sustenance when they get home. No.
What time? What time should I be there?
We could take our team.
Yeah, what time?
That's not a problem.
I'll go there. You didn't tell me about food.
I think I've lost control of my panel.
Got to schedule a match,
I've lost control of the panel.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I have other
whatever.
subjects to get to, and we're going to be really hungry by the time we get done with the show. And some of the other sports are going to Division 1, 2, and 3. We're seeing that in a lot of the sports. We're not seeing it in volleyball. We still have city championship, invitational, small schools. Isn't that old school? Why not Division 1, 2, and 3?
It's always a fight for boys volleyball to get that. There's no state championship for boys volleyball. Just this year, next year that they're starting the southern regionals versus the northern regionals, and it's one of these days where we want a state championship, and so you have to make the baby steps to get to it. So.
But not a Division 1, 2, and 3 alignment
But I
yet.
think that's going to happen next year.
Yeah,
Next year we're going to have a division. We're going to have a Division 1, 2, and small schools.
And
We're not going to have that third one. So we have 1, 2, and small school, and that's going to happen for sure next year, starting with the girls' season.
All right, let's talk about this regional playoff setup. How's that work?
Well, they're going to take, I think it's 8 teams total, of which I believe we're guaranteed one or two. Well, at least one, right?
One
per division, right? And so that'll be 2 teams in the 3 separate divisions. It's going to be down at Capistrano Valley High School, Orange County, and it's a pilot thing, but it's largely because of the Los Angeles Volleyball Coaches Association pushing it, IAC supporting it, and us as coaches just deciding it's time that the guys get some recognition. It's a growing sport, you know.
Well, Northern California is starting to make moves on it also. They want to make it a state. They found out we are doing a regional, so now they're going to try to start working on a regional, and then we'll make our state championship.
You mentioned it's a growing sport. Frosh Soft is growing, so that means more players coming into the individual programs.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. At least, some of the problems we talked about with not having, let's say, club kids. If you can get these kids in the Frosh Soft programs and you can get 50 kids in your program instead of maybe 25 or 30, you can build from the bottom up, and it's been a successful recipe for a lot of people. So we're into it. It's the girls. It's been very successful, and now it's coming with the boys, and I think we're seeing more teams popping up. So it's a good way to go.
And when you get, I'm sorry, Elias, but when you get kids playing volleyball at freshman or sophomore level, and they do play other sports, whether it's basketball or football or tennis or anything else, they start out as 2 or 3 sport athletes, and so it's not as difficult to get a coach to allow that player to play because they started out as a 2 or 3 sport athlete.
Yeah, at smaller schools, we get them as juniors, sometimes as seniors. Basketball's over, I have nothing to do.
Right.
Let's play volleyball. Well, why not? But now with the Frosh Soft team, you can get those boys and tell them, you know what, you're going to play, you're not going to sit, you're going to actually play against other freshmen and other sophomores, and that opens up their eyes to the opportunity to play.
It's like college sports, recruiting JC players opposed to getting that great high school player in there. You got them for 4 years rather than a quick fix, and that's what you're talking about with the Frosh sophomore teams.
No doubt, no doubt.
And for me, some of my most consistent players over the last 3 years have been freshmen or sophomore that have moved directly up into the varsity.
You get a chance to teach them your system, to give them the skill set they're going to need to be successful. And she made a great point. Once they're exposed to it early on, then they just assume that's just the way it is instead of having to fight for them down the road.
Right.
Let me say this right now. Christy North makes a lot of great points.
Yeah, she does.
Makes a lot of
Well, in,
Yeah,
in the Valley, they've been having Frosh Soft, and that isn't one reason why they do constantly have great players. In the city, we don't have a Frosh Soft, and some schools don't even have a JV.
Right.
So that's makes it very difficult for us to teach these players to play in 1 year. And actually, we're talking 3 months.
I know you all have this because all you need is a computer. MaxPreps.com, which is a place that houses all the stats for football and basketball and baseball, but boys volleyball is finally going to be on MaxPreps.com. How does that help the coaches and the players in city volleyball?
Oh, it's great. You know, I've been involved with Max Preps with the girls program since the beginning. I actually invented Max Preps. No, I'm just kidding.
Should have been called Will Prep.
Yeah, but
If you did, you would be supporting a lot of things that we're working on.
Hey,
right
I'll
now.
tell you what, it's a great thing because first of
We'll
all,
be paying Randy's salary.
we'll see Randy on it. First of all, it's giving a chance for us to communicate with each other, who won which match, who are the kill leaders, and it gives us an idea of what's going on in our matches. But it gives the kids exposure, and it gives them a way to connect with the sport through this internet system. It's great.
Well, Will, thank you very much. Good luck at Verdugo Hills.
Thank you.
Christy doesn't need luck at Carson. Thanks for being here. And either does Elias at Elizabeth.
Thank you.
I love that. Elias and Elizabeth. It goes together. Love this panel, and I love how you all decked out. We got the red, the
called
black,
each
and the
other.
blue.
That's right.
I called them, made sure that they were dressed
We're very
right.
colorful. She did. She called us early.
Colorful
Texting.
panel. You asked for a colorful panel.
We got a colorful
She wanted
panel.
a volleyball on each shirt.
I did, but
We
what are you
got
going to
it.
do?
Oh, 3 champions, even if they don't win championships. All right, we're going to come back with the best players and the best teams. We'll break it down for you right after this on KLCS.
Hey, good game. Oh, there we go. Great game, man. Let's go get a win! This year's MVP goes to Jake.
Take steroids and eventually everyone will see you for what you really are. A fake, a fraud, an asterisk. Don't be an asterisk.
The first step to getting into college is finding someone who can help. For the next steps, go to knowhowtogo.org.
All right, who are the best boys volleyball players in the 2009 season in the Los Angeles Unified School District? Well, we'll start out at Sylmar High School, where Tyler Honeycutt is a terrific athlete. Great basketball player for Borda Scoto. Tremendous performer in that he can play point guard, power forward. He can do it all. He led his team into the Elite Eight in hoops, and he's that good as well in volleyball. Dominant hitter. Again, he's signed with UCLA to play basketball for Ben Howland. Tyler Honeycutt is a load. And he has a guy that's going to get him the ball as well, his fine setter Felipe Garcia. Tall, rangy player at 6'4", all-city last year. When we have that kind of size at the setting position, that is a huge advantage. And with Gary Ricks and Honeycutt on the outside, Garcia has a lot of nice targets. There's Christian Nava, the outstanding hitter at Grant High School, a guy who has a wonderful vertical leap, so talented, so solid. Grant doesn't have a powerhouse team, but Christian Nava is the real deal, and he is a candidate for Player of the Year. Eric Lujan at Van Nuys, he's their setter. He's the guy that spreads the wealth. That's a great program at Van Nuys. He will be their leader this year. He gets the job done for the Wolves. John Benheim, an outstanding performer at Granada Hills, another big hitter on the outside, a veteran, some great teams he's played on at Granada Hills on the Highlanders for Coach Tom Harp. John Benheim, an outside hitter, a senior, can really do the job. Everyone is excited about Eric Dates at Hamilton. Why not? He's 6'6". He's a dominant performer. The Yankees are back in boys volleyball, and Eric Dates is the main cog, the main reason. Matt Hanley, he comes from a terrific volleyball family. His mom, Linda Hanley, was a great beach volleyball player. John Hanley, his pop, was also sensational. So you're talking about great heritage there with Matt Hanley on that fine Palisades team. And his teammate, Kenny Izuchukwu, who can hit with the best of them. Izuchukwu was tremendous in the championship win last year over El Camino. He can stick it down from anywhere on the court. He is a talented performer. Those are the best individuals. What about the best teams? Well, I have a few schools to go through it. Which teams could win the city championship in 2009? Well, we had Christy North here, and she was talking up her Carson team, although she does play it down a little bit. But we know that El Camino Real and some of these other schools might get tested by a Carson Colts team that's very good. Speaking of El Camino Real, they went to the city finals last year. Their coach, Doug Coleman, did a great job. Their mission this year is to get back to the finals and win it all. Granada Hills, Tom Harp, a deep, experienced team. We talked about John Benheim on the outside. Granada Hills fully capable of winning the championship. Palisades, the defending city champion, terrific team. This is a club. We just talked about Hanley and Izuchukwu. You have those kind of players on your side, you have a great chance. Sylmar has Honeycutt and Garcia. Case closed. You heard Will Reinhardt say they should be the #1 team in the city. They'll probably bat it out with Pally for the crown. And then there's Van Nuys. David Che always has the strong program. He has Eric Lujan to set the team. Van Nuys, the Wolves, will be very good. All right, who's going to win the championship? Pally won it last year in 5 sets in a great match over ECR. It seems like the final match always goes 5 sets. So you got to think it's going to be Pally against the Valley and Pally against Sylmar in the championship match. I'm leaning toward Palisades. I like the fact they have the experience. Chris Forrest has been a brilliant coach in recent years. Look for Pally, but Sylmar certainly has a chance. For our entire KLCS crew, I'm Randy Rosenblum. So long for now, and go out and enjoy the matches.